All right, what's up, Twitch chat? What's up, YouTube? Whenever y'all watch this later, we got kind of challenged, kind of suggested on the Discord to try out a variation, like a budget variation of Shadow, and see if it was actually like possible or something. We'll do a prediction. We'll do it before we get started. So that's what we're doing here. I took Dimir Shadow, which is already one of the most like budget options in Modern. As far as competitive decks go, you can have really solid Dimir Shadow lists for 300 ticks. Like everything included. 300, 306. Variations kind of depend on whether or not you're including Mishra's Bauble, Ledger Shredder, Tashana's Tidebinder, stuff like that. So we kind of stripped it down to its core. We took out a lot of the fancy, high-end premium cards and decided to go back to our roots a little bit more with Gurmag Angler, with Stubborn Denial, Snapcaster, Thought Scour, because if you ever go through the MTGO marketplace, they are cheap. They are really freaking cheap. So that's what we're doing. We're seeing if it's possible to take this sub 50 ticks variation of Dimir Shadow and actually build up to full power with it. And this is kind of like our step one. This is our initially, words are tough with the deck, to see what goes on. So let's talk about some of the budget options that we have here. First of all, with the creature base, Bowmaster out the window. Like 40 ticks a piece. No thank you. Ledger Shredder, I don't even want to run that anyway. Subtlety, not on my menu. Mishra's Bauble out the window if you're not running Ledger Shredder. Gurmag Angler. Gurmag Angler's where it's at. This boy has gotten us through many a league before for 0.02 ticks a piece or something stupid like that. Street Wraith to enable our Gurmags and Shadows. Since we're not running Murktide Regent, because that's also, 11 ticks a piece? We're not running that, so Street Wraith helps out all of our threats. Gurmag doesn't care what you exile with it. It's going to be a chompy boy regardless. We got Snapcaster back in here. We've got our full play set of counter spells. We've got our full play set of Thoughtseize and Fatal Push, Stubborn Denial, Thought Scour. It's like a bunch of really classic Shadow staples. Got some Drowning Locks. We were looking at the mana base. The blue fetches, a little bit pricey. So instead we chunked those out the window. Went with a playset of Verdant Catacombs that you can get for like 8 ticks. A playset of Marsh Flats was 2.6. All get Watery Grave, just the same as the Polluted Delta. So who cares if you can't get that basic island all the time when you can just get all the swamps, all the Watery Graves. We even added a Blood Crypt for the extra 5th shock, just in case. In the sideboard, got rid of the Fluster Storms, got rid of the Engineered Explosives, got rid of the... What do we have to get rid of? Subtlety, but who cared about that? The most expensive thing in our sideboard is Dress Down. It's just like a hair over 5 ticks. I got one in the main, one in the side. Instead, Unmoored Ego, Damping Sphere, Flaying Tendrils, modern staples that nobody remembers exist in the format. But that's what we're doing. That's where we're going to start at. We're going to see how this actually goes, if we're able to win any matches at all, or if it's going to go down like a burning Zeppelin. So we got asked to do a prediction. Let's do that. Let's see what Twitch chat thinks of our budget Shadow list. So let's start a new prediction. Our prediction is going to be, what kind of a record will budget Dimir Shadow get? What kind of record will budget Dimir get? Outcome 1, 05 drop. Outcome 2, let's say, are we just going to go down the line? 2, 3, kids go hungry. 3, 2, small fries and apple pie. too many characters. 4/3. Medium combo. 4/3, 4/1. 1 medium combo. 5/0. Big Max all around. So we got 5/0, 4/1, 3/2, 2/3, 1/4, 0/5 drop. Start the prediction. Predictions live. What kind of record do you think we're going to get with budget Dimir Shadow? Well, 2 large fries from McDonald's, 14. What kind of fries did you get? Like the gold plated? Got them California fries. Those nudge, nudge, wink, wink fries. Can I do 06? No, because we're going to drop at 05. So we can't actually do 06 bad. Sorry. So you got just like 30 more seconds to get your prediction in. I'm kind of shocked so many people are believers in the 3-2 small fries. That's impressive. We got a lot of people that think this can actually win some games. All right. Predictions in. Let's run it. Let's see what happens. Two, 3 believer. Same, honestly. I'm in like the 1-4 camp. All right. Round number 1. Opponent last seen on Yawgmoth. Uh-oh. Quick 0-1. Really hoping we'll see like all the Rhinos players. Not so much the Yawg players. Okay. I have a hard time throwing back counter spells and shadows and bad removal spells. We believe in the pilot. Well, there's your first mistake. Delighted halfling. We're like delighted going to the graveyard. Am I right? Marsh Flats. Go and get our watery grave. Yoink you to the Shadow Realm. Go. 5-0 believers. Can I change my vote? No. No, you can't. Too late. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That does a pretty good job of invalidating like our entire deck and reason for living. Let's just go watery grave, pass. Hold up counterspell for the turn. I hate everything. Same. Same. So much same. Young Wolf. Do I want to just counterspell this because YOLO? I guess there's a chance that they were like just floating green because they could and not because they have another 1-drop. Nice. Let's go Thought Scour ourselves. Hitting land would be nice. I was gonna say if they don't do anything, then we could get down Gurmag. So now we are Thoughtseize. Take a Yawg. No, if we take Yawg, then they just chord for something. And they get to add Yawg's abilities to it. But I guess that's okay. We can drown in the lock whatever they go to get with chord. So let's take Yawg. Play out Gurmag Angler. Hopefully. Exile my counterspell. You got it. A-okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I mean, it's kind of a tricky point of like, does leaving anything actually matter? It's not like I'm snapcastering anything back while they've got a Soul Cauldron sitting around. But how much better Angler is versus Murktide. It's 1 mana cheaper, but it doesn't fly. It's missing a very important key. Son of a... Okay. Okay, we'll figure out a way through this. I'm gonna chord right now. Chord 4. Gotta just be for, yeah, Yawgmoth. I can let this die. Am I snap pushing or am I just getting shadowed down? I think I'm just getting shadowed down, honestly. Keep the pressure going. See if they go for Soul Cauldron. We kill you. All right. And you have drawn nothing. Please. Please, nothing. Stop it. Stop it. Another chord. That's not good for us. That's pretty decent. So what happens here? They can't sack another creature. So I'm just dismembering this, right? Making sure there's nothing crazy that I'm missing. Yeah. Can't believe the timeline we were in where Snap is less than 20 bucks. Dude, when I bought mine for like 60 something a piece, way back, I thought I was getting a steal. Or they might have been like 55 a piece, something like that. And I thought like I was... We won a game! We won a game! And And we've got stuff to sideboard. We got Needle and Spell Bomb. We get Flaying Tendrils, Sterns. Oh, look at this. We're cooking. We want Ego. Just like Ego Yawgmoth. Choose a card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards of that name. Yeah, we want Ego. Where my angler stands at. Here. Here. There pulls so much tail, it's insane. Read this card. Alright. Stub, pretty bad. Snapcasters. A little mid. Round's pretty awkward. Where does that leave me? 3 cuts. Ego, I would maybe only play 1. They can still go ham through Cauldron. Yeah, but if I get like the Yawgmoths out completely, then I don't care as much about Cauldron. Like, it's still good. Is he cutting like any of these? Is Drown bad versus Yawg? It is, because like their Undying stuff doesn't stay in the yard. Get that. That's not supposed to be out. The Undying stuff doesn't stay in the yard. Cauldron exiles the yard. And they run Endurance. And like all those make Drown pretty awkward. Though it is kind of nice to have it when it's not completely shut off. See what happens. Really looking for removal spell on 1. Ooh. Think we're gonna find the second land like right away. If we find a second land right off the bat, we're beating face here. We're windmill slamming into things. Just how we drew it up. All right, Catacombs, say go. Plan on trying to like spell snare a Cauldron. How's my speed test giving me 350 megabytes download speed, but Twitch is freezing every 2 seconds. Because Twitch was everything. All right, so opponent's sitting on a Bowmaster. Clearly. It's going to kind of suck if they go Bowmaster, untap, Grist. Fulminator Mage. Fulminator Mage, really? All right, well, we're gonna pop a spell bomb. I need to find more lands. Spirit Guide, Manamorphose, Pyretic Ritual, Dishana's Tidebinder. Something. Why is Yawg on multiple Fulminators? Because of Cauldron. Just sack it and like turn all your Grist tokens and stuff into Fulminators. Come on. One land off the top. One land off the top. White. White. So they have the Yawg and a Grist. So we'll take the Grist. And dismember the Yawg. Swamp. Play the Yawg, father. Alright, land off the top. Is that crazy? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I was gonna say, is it crazy to just Pithing Needle the Yawg? But, like, I still gotta deal with Takenuma getting back Grist or Yawg. Okay. Let's think. So I can hold up Counterspell. So if they get back Grist or Yawg, I can just Counterspell whatever they get back. I could play out Gurmag Angler, which is probably the higher upside if they get back Grist. But if they get back Yawg, then they just have a Yawg. That kind of sucks. I could play Shadow. I can't Angler plus Needle because I've only got 5 cards in the yard. But again, like if I Angler and they Takenuma and just get back Yawgmoth, I don't have an answer for that. So it's kind of risky. Blood Artist, Bowmaster, Yawgmoth. They get back Grist. Okay. I guess if they have like Grist plus something to sack to Grist, I can still Pithing Needle the Grist and then like play Shadow. That's a good one. Maybe Shadow plus Needle is play. Well, the problem is we can't preemptively Needle something because then they just get the other thing. And we don't have an answer for the other thing. Like all the proactive Needle plays are just saying, okay, we name Yawg, and then they get back Grist and our Needle doesn't do anything. Or we name Grist and they get back Yawg and our Needle doesn't do anything. Shadow. Needle on Grist. We could Needle on Nurturing Peatland just to stop the draw. But I think Grist is the play. And if they do play out a couple threats, then maybe we can Flaying Tendrils to wipe the board. This game 1, this is game 2. Really hoping that was going to be something into Spell Snare. All right. Hmm. So attacking it, Grist doesn't do anything. Rack in at them. All right. Here's hoping for a brick or two. That's one brick. Just really need them to be drawing things like, yeah, stuff I can interact with. Great. Pass back. Or attack and pass back. Attack and pass back's completely fine. You're not drawing off this waterlogged grove. Cord. Endurance. Got a counterspell endurance. Punish for the tapping the watery grave. I'm assuming they've got Dryad Arbor here. Yep. Gives them another draw. Now I need for both of their draws to be dead. That's far from dead. Is opposite of dead. Very much alive. I like attack, play shadow, pass. I think my only potential out is like them whiffing a couple draws. I can't counterspell anything, but I can fatal push. Must be like all live cards in their hand if they're not even considering Yawgmoth. Just doing anything here. No. Go ahead and push the Bowmaster. It's the hopes that they're not going to be able to attack in. And there's always the chance that they're just drawing lands and grist. More Yawgmoths. That's not a land, a grist, or a Yawgmoth. I've got Soul Cauldron, Wall of Roots. Blood Artist is in the yard for what it's worth. Oh, my Gurmag, sure. All right. Let's think. If I cast Flaying Tendrils, I go down to 1. Both of my shadows become 9/9s. They can draw before the Flaying Tendrils resolves, but the Young Wolf's gonna get exiled. If they have a Bowmaster, I die. But I'm not really in a position to beat a Bowmaster anyway. I could attack. And if they don't block one of the shadows, then I get to dress down. So the options are between attack, hope they don't block, and dress down. Or Flaying Tendrils and hope to force the chump with the Yawgmoth. Yeah, you're right about the proliferate. Can I do anything about that? They don't have to pay life to proliferate, do they? So, does that mean dress down's my only option? By tendrils, they proliferate. That goes away. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think dress down's my only option. I should have dressed down pre-combat. So this is fine. We're going to dress down before damage off the Waterlogged Grove. Just so if I draw into a Fatal Push, then the dress down gets sacked into turn, I can Fatal Push the Yawgmoth. Then, like, the Young Wolf doesn't come back. Is dress down even lethal? It would be if they didn't block. because it would make my shadow a 13/13, then with the -3 counters, like assuming they didn't do anything. Find the Bowmaster. The freight, sure. Like all riding on finding a they all riding on finding a fatal push there. Okay. Game 3. And I'm back on this unmoored ego desire. Dogfish is wrong. Like, just getting Yawgmoth out of the deck, I think, opens up my my options a lot. Like, I do think that Yawgmoth is the only card that's going to, like, reliably beat me. Cauldron's annoying. Grist is annoying. But I think, like, they need Yawgmoth to actually consistently win. So, eat a dick, Dogfish. We have a couple draws. Okay. I'd be less inclined to keep this if I didn't have a couple redraws that I could play right away. Definitely worse land to draw. I guess basic swamp would have been worse, but all right, deck. Need you to chill with the lands here. Calm it on down. Push you off a cliff. On the bright side, like, any of our threats are online. Sure. Okay. Feel reasonable about that turn cycle. Spell bomb down. That was in fact great for us. I am pleased. They got a Bowmaster. I'm letting it go. Because we're totally about to top deck this shadow, like right here. This one. This one right off the top of our deck. Ooh. Shadow right here. Almost. I could go ahead and Tendrils away the board. I could draw a card into the Bowmaster. So if I shock in Blood Crypt, Tendrils away the board, I'm taking 2, going to 7. Let's say they top deck. They have a Yawgmoth or another Grist. Like, am I just in major trouble at that point? I think it's just like, if we're Tendrils, then we're committing to the Tendrils. But Tendrils is rough if they follow up with, like, a Grist. So I think I'm just going to pass and plan on maybe, like, Consider into turn or Spellbomb into turn. Give myself a chance to, like, untap with Tendrils plus hold up Counterspell. It's another Bowmaster. Yes. Okay, this is good. Now they ping me. I'm just going to choose not to draw off the Spell Bomb. And then untap and Tendrils away the board. We do have a basic swamp, so we can get that. Tendrils. Consider in case we find a Shadow or a Gurmag. Another Consider worth it. Okay. Maybe keeping that other Consider was fine. Scoos? Bruh. Bruh. All right. Little scary. Well, I can't counterspell anyway, or I'm dead to the Scoos. No longer dead to the Scoos. Okay. Show me a threat. Show me a shadow. This is gonna get really sketchy on this life really quick. Oh, head to that. A guy refuses to whiff. Shadow. Ah. All right, so we got to scour. Scour who? Scour you. Dang. So close there. Just a classic shadow issue of no threat. The first threat was 29 cards down. Yep. Man, that one was close. I was really surprised at how well we were able to just kind of stay around in that one. Despite the triple Bowmaster draw. Basic Forest Utopia Sprawl. So this Heliod, I guess based off Utopia Sprawl for white, green fetch land. Not Heliod. Enchantress. Okay. I don't really care about solitary confinement right now. So I'm really tempted to just let them have that. Deliver for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped. I can't say I really care about that, but I'm assuming it's just waiting for like an Enchantress effect. I know freed from the real combos with the 2 mana dork from like Eventide or whatever. I'm just gonna take the confinement as like best card in hand. Bloom Tender. Is that the dork that combos with freed from the real? Wonder if they're actually playing that. Got the trophy with that Retrofitter blue-red list I asked you to cut advice on. Did the Retrofitter actually do anything, or was it just in the deck? If you say something like, I comboed with Retrofitter and never cast Retrofitter, I'm calling shenanigans. All right. Need to find Need to find a counter spell, Drown in the Lock, Stubborn Denial. This. Okay. Oh, we've got basic swamp for what it's worth. Full Blood Moon. Couldn't have done much about that. Gonna say it shuts them off blue, but they've got font. So Gurmag Angler's good. Street Wraith, Thoughtseize. A Leyline Binding. Go. At least play out Shadow next turn. Of course, they find something. Alright, Street Wraith. Not Street Wraith. They just freed from the real my dude. I'll take another binding. Okay. That's definitely not long for this world. I guess that Sanctum Weaver combos with Freed from the Real, right? Make blue, untap it. Rinse, repeat. Alright. I was pretty dead to the first Blood Moon. Touché. All right. Blood Moon. I mean, even if I thought about Blood Moon, I couldn't play around it with that opening hand, so I'm not going to feel too bad about it. Could Pithing Needle name Sterling Grove? Mortigo could take out Enchantress's presence. I'm expecting him to bring in Rest in Peace post board, so I think I'm going to trim some of my graveyard reliance. I guess Stern Scolding's pretty good into all their creatures. One island with no way to fetch us a herder. Yeah. Kind of made me miss the what was it we were going to run? Prismatic Vista. Okay. I mean, at least we can get our swamp. So, they'll play out dudes under a Blood Moon. Falling. Hold a 5, at least. Hoping for the turn 1 shadow. Miss the good old days when there were enough matchups for a one-of Tasker's activated ability to matter over the extra power of Gurmag Angler. I don't know if I would ever say it really mattered. I think people really like wanting to believe that it mattered. But realistically, I think that like the extra point off Gurmag Angler was always better, but people wanted to play Tasigur to like reduce the amount of dependency you had on the graveyard. The delve being a little like one less was relevant, a non-zero number of the time, even before, or especially before Mishra's Bauble. Can't imagine a world where I'm unmoored egoing here. Cntrlfreak non-believer confirmed. Truth. I overlay different. Well, I've got this one and then I've got the normal one. And I just didn't feel like changing it. But now that you've made me self-conscious. Oh, they're totally gonna blood moon me. Like, I am getting blood mooned here. But I'm also more than likely getting leyline bindinged. Oh, no binding. Okay. Life feels a little bit better. Tiny bit. Did they binding me? Red, white, green, blue, black. Yeah, they could have binding me if they have one. There's 0 chance they blood moon. Said everybody moments before getting blood mooned. There's a 0% chance we get blood mooned here. 7 copies of Blood Moon simultaneously. Blood Moon Storm. Blood Moons everywhere. They're raining from the sky. Can't do anything about this massive surge of Blood Moons. Ha! Ha! Ha 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 ha! There's no way they blood moon us from double triome. They can't blood moon from here. 0 chance. 0 chance. Why would you even think blood moon was an option here? All right, I'm gonna hit you with a shadow. This guy's new to Magic. Clearly not. If they know blood moon screws me over. Zero chance of blood moon. Let's see. Just for my own personal collection here. Zero chance they Blood Moon. Zero chance. Little blown away they went for Blood Moon there, I can't lie. I'm not surprised in the slightest. It's got Blood Moon by 4-color Omnath twice in a row. Grossing 4-color decks, shitting all over 2 to 3-color decks with Blood Moon and Astro. That was gross. Like, I hated that meta so much. Astrolabe was abysmal to play against. Oh. Turn 2 Blood Moon incoming. Okay. Our options are play a fetch and pass. And we can fetch up basic swamp if they Blood Moon. We could Underground River, Thoughtseize, plan to hold up Counterspell next turn. Okay, so here's my thought. If we fetch up Swamp and Thoughtseize, and they have a Blood Moon, then we take that. Life feels a little bit okay. But we're a turn farther away from Counterspell. So I think if we're going to Thoughtseize, we Thoughtseize off Underground River or fetch Shock and Thoughtseize. Because, like, if our opponent's got 2 copies of Blood Moon, even if we get our basic Swamp, we lose this game. We have Counterspell, Spell Snare, we can't get a Shadow down. We are just dead to second copy of Blood Moon. So if I'm going to go with the assumption that they don't have a second copy of Blood Moon, then my best play becomes the thing that lets me get down Death Shadow turn 2, which is fetch, Shock, Watery Grave, Thoughtseize. So not only do they not have Blood Moon, they don't have anything castable currently. Spells your opponents cast during your turn cost 1 more to cast. Well, that seems like something I don't want my opponent to have access to. We're going to take that and hope they don't hit a land. Nice. Yeah, they can cast Sterling Grove, but, like, what are they doing with Sterling Grove? Their best option becomes, like, tutor something up with Grove. And if they go and get, like, a, the 1 green enchantment that draws a card or something when it enters, then I might just counterspell that. I can counter the hell out of a Sithis. Get out of here. Get another Watery Grave because Blood Moon be damned. Okay, I think now I just don't care about this. sure. That was their blind draws, so now I know they've got double Enchantress presence, Leyline Binding. Wraith. Tree Wraith, you make me so happy. So I could Thoughtseize, Spell Snare. I could play out Gurmag Angler. I think all I care about is making sure I've got lethal next turn. So what does that look like for me? If I load a black, attack in with Shadow. This currently costs 4, so I don't really care about it. I'm not playing Angler because then I can't hold up Counterspell. But right now I've got like Counterspell this turn, Snap Counterspell next turn. If I can't hold up. Like this doesn't let me hold up Counterspell. Spells your opponents can cast during your turn cost 1 more. So I cannot Counterspell off 2 mana with that around. But now we can hold up Snap Counterspell on their turn. Tasker would have let you do it. Justice for Tasker. The real fishy boy. Had lethal with Snap Seize. I had lethal if they didn't draw anything, right? I'll double check that in a second. Okay. Last turn. What were they at last turn? They were at 12. For sure they were at 12? I guess. Let's see. I hit them for. I was at 5. So I could have gone ping, ping, snap, Thoughtseize. Check the VOD. Okay. Then yeah, good call. Good call. All right. I'm shocked we won a game. Won a match. But I guess it was against Enchantress. Like, you won a match, but did you really win a match? You just kind of stood there and proceeded to hope you don't get blood mooned. Tron, 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 Tron. Oh, and they just have natural Tron, Mind Power Plant Tower, with a Blast Zone. In the nicest way possible. What the fuck? I'm dying here. Natural Tron, Blast Zone, Expedition Map, Chalice of the Void, Payoff. Yet again, what the fuck? Isn't Tron supposed to mulligan? Aren't they supposed to, like, not have natural Tron all the time? Isn't there supposed to be a fail rate with this deck? Because honestly, I don't see it. I don't see the alleged fail rate. At least you got the only payoff. Like they haven't found more payoffs. This is Tron we're talking about. All they do is find payoffs. I'm just gonna cast stuff to make Gurmag Angler better. You ready for the new payoff? Ready for the follow-up payoff? Oh, do they just have the Ulamog next turn? Respect. Okay. Okay. Hit him in the face. So if they don't blast zone me, we're just like triple Street Wraith away. Ah. Carry on. Your surgical extraction is useless now through your own Chalice of the Void. That's a good sign for me. Just wasting time on Urza sagas. Why not leave a pair of cards in this grave for the next angler? Would have been the good call, but I don't think we're going to get to a next angler. Ah, yes. The One Ring. The Great Equalizer. I won't totally draw 8 payoffs with the One Ring. Well, I mean, they already got the Saga in play, so that's like make a 3/3, make a 4/4, get an artifact. They're 5/5s. Blast Zone, blow up my shadow. Sure. I don't actually think I have anything I can cast in the deck. Or, sorry, I don't think I have anything I can resolve in the deck. Another angler easy with all the stuff I can exile out of my yard. Oh, and it's scared. They're scared. They're afraid of our fishy boy. All right, but let's go back to that natural Tron Expedition map Chalice Karn Blast Zone opener. I feel like that's not getting talked about enough. Like, that's not an average Tron rollout, right? I'm not going crazy here. All right. I guess you can have your second copy of the One Ring. Below average for Tron, though. True. They actually should have had Natural Tron Triple Spirit Guide Ulamog. And the fact that they didn't kind of makes their deck laughable. Like, can you imagine registering Tron and not having turn 1 Karn? Losing it, throwing games on purpose. Just Tron. Okay. We got a pretty good sideboard plan, at least. Got like Egos and Damping Sphere, Pithing Needles, Spreading Seas. Tron is just like my forever mortal enemy. So I really want to beat Tron. Blood Crypt for more shock damage only. Yeah, more shock damage, and we had to get a black shock to get off of our fetch lands. So it does look a little bit awkward with Counterspell. Not in love with this hand. We're ways off of Gurmag Angler. Best case scenario would be like drawing double fetch land. And I feel like when you start your opinion of a hand by saying my best draws is 2 more lands, that's probably a sign to throw it back. I think if this Gurmag were a shadow instead of a Gurmag, then that would have been better. Maybe that's something to consider, is having it be a blue-based shock. We can't get a blue-based shock with our non-blue fetch lands. So it would just be a land that we couldn't search for. That kind of defeats the purpose of having another shock land in the deck. Now, obviously, when you start upgrading the mana base, that's different, but at least in the short sight, we can't have a non-black shock land. Taking Chalice, Eldrazi Temple, Urza's Mine. I have to take the Chalice. I mean, I figured they were E-Tron when they were running a whole bunch of like sagas and main deck chalices and stuff game 1. So they are going to be able to Matter Reshaper. All Tron decks run 1 to 2 sagas. Let's see. Let's see if you're telling the truth or if we ban you. The first Tron deck that shows up on Goldfish. No copies of Urza Saga. Second one. All right, they got 2 sagas. You're 1 for 2. They've got 2 sagas. All right. 2 sagas. You're doing good. I concede this one to you. It looks like you were correct. Good job. I appreciate good informed decisions and statements. You pass. Oh, did they top deck another Chalice? Son of a... Old Tron. Good old Tron. Oh, double Eldrazi Temple. Okay. Your top decks were second Chalice, Eldrazi Temple. Land? Land to let me Otawara? Is there any reason to unmoored ego here? What would I unmoored ego? Like the next Tron land? Yes. Urza's Tower. Or no, Blast Zone. Blast Zone. Be smart. Get out of here. No card draw for you. We're losing to what's in hand, but no card draw for you. No punt in the game yet. Well, it's hard to punt when you haven't been able to do anything, right? Turn 1 Thoughtseize, take the Chalice so we can continue playing Magic. Spreading Seas, the only land we have available, because if we don't, like, they get closer to Tron, we can't stop the Temple Matter Reshaper. And then our opponent top decks another Chalice, but we didn't have a counterspell or anything to interact with it anyway. So, good times. Otawara, only way of getting rid of an artifact? Yes. Don't have any, like, Hercules recalls. Which I feel like Hercules recall is another one of those weird ones on Magic Online that's, like, more expensive than it should be. All right. We'll scoop it up because if we do bounce the Chalice, they do just have like Matter Reshaper hit us for 6, Walking Ballista, and we lose to that. But typically blue-black like does not have many ways of getting rid of artifacts or enchantments outside of unsummon or bounce effects like Brazen Borrower. But when we've got this whole 50 tick restriction, Brazen Borrower's a bit of a difficult one to find room for. Those hands goated. And so good. I do think if you're in the market for like building on a budget, make the mana base functional first. Like, you can probably win a lot more games by being able to cast your crappy 2-drops on turn 2 reliably than you can trying to make, like, subpar threats work with subpar mana. Always start with the mana base. Yeah. And, like, the mana base carries over most of the time anyway. If you start off with just getting a play set of, like, Polluted Deltas and Scalding Tarns and stuff like that, then you'll probably be okay. See what you got. We're doing a really good Sultai Shadow impersonation right here. A shadow mirror. Cool. Not a shadow mirror. Well, gonna have one happy zombie fish, I can tell you that. Boop. Opponent meet Gurmag Angler. Scourge of the Seven Seas. Hey, Brazen Borrowers, the card's just so terribly boring. Same as Shieldred, Bone Crusher Giant, some other push creatures lately. I don't know, like, I like the adventure mechanic. I think it's pretty cool, pretty different. I also really value cards that have like the ability to be relevant at different stages in the game. And that's what I feel like adventure usually brings. But there definitely have been like some pushed adventures. Shields are good by itself. I don't think it would be 1/100th of its price if it wasn't because of the One Ring. I mean, it sees a lot of play in like Standard and Pioneer too, right? Where they don't have the ring. So, would it be as good? Probably not. Would it still be very, very played and probably still pretty pricey? I would think so. Back with the crab. Attack with the crab. Coward. Alright, I didn't realize this was a coward stream. Like, usually, at least as far as Magic Online goes, prices are usually dictated by how much a card is desired across multiple formats. And with Shieldred, I feel like it's one that's pretty heavily looked at across the board. Mistaken coming in with the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome everybody. Hope you had an awesome stream. Assuming some flavor of Amulet Titan. We are I don't really know what we're doing at the moment. We're playing like some budget Dimir Shadow, trying to see if it's possible to build the deck on a very, very strict budget. And so far, I'm not really sure yet. Probably okay. We're 1-1, I think. Or no, 1-2, something like that. But welcome everybody from the raid. If you haven't been here before, my name's Michael, or Cntrlfreak on Magic Online. Play a lot of Modern, especially a lot of Death Shadow, and some Timeless recently. We can throw that in there. And we are trying to test if it's possible to win with Shadow on a budget. Hope that my opponent does not hit me with his Field of Ruin. Somber Lane, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome Wednesday wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you hanging out. I feel like they're just sitting on a bunch of what's it called? Archive traps or something similar. we have been in the games. The mana base has hurt a little bit, which is one of the big budget considerations. Gurmag Angler hasn't been that bad. I've been kind of pleased with the angle of the Gerd angle. No archive trap. What you got? Glimpse the Unthinkable, Baleful Mastery. That's only 10. So I think I take the Baleful Mastery. Probably plan to stub the Visions of Beyond. Maybe we find... Okay, wait. Do we have a fetchable for this? 1, 2... We do have a fetchable for this. Okay. This is good. This is good. And now what is our plan? Start by going to combat. I would like to snap something, but I kind of feel like my best plan is get down Gurmag, or get down Shadow, stub the Visions of Beyond, hope for a dead draw off the top, and then have like snap push or something on my next turn. I don't think I can let Visions resolve. Well, if their last card's like a Tasha's or something. Can't do much. Okay, so we win. Take Vision's Counter Mastery. So the issue, I think, with Take Vision's Counter Mastery is just that they don't have to cast the Mastery. So they could just sit on it for as long as they want until it actually becomes relevant. And like, I didn't have that quick of a clock. But with like the Visions, they have to cast the Visions like ASAP or they're just dead. But the Baleful Mastery, I think they could have held on to. Like, if they get rid of the Gurmag Angler, then my clock's just gone, right? But if I get rid of their ability to get rid of the Gurmag Angler, then it becomes, all right, we need to cast the Baleful Mastery. And then you also run into this awkward situation of, like, what if they top deck a Drown in the Lock or something? And now they have Drown in the Lock, kill the Gurmag. I have to counter that, and then they have Baleful Mastery, and like they're gonna get rid of the Gurmag. But if I get rid of the removal spell and they don't cast it, then maybe there's a chance if they draw a removal spell, I counter it. Then they have to like Visions of Beyond to try to draw into another removal spell, but it's not guaranteed. Mystical Dispute's decent. I don't think I want Nihil Spellbomb. Or I do think I want Nihil Spellbomb. By the way, what's Baleful Mastery for? Is there anything that important to exile rather than destroy? I think it's like the draw a card part is important because you mill your opponent out and then force them to draw and just kill them with that. So you like kill them at instant speed while getting a threat off the board. Plus just like you don't really care if they're drawing cards if you're winning by being their entire existence. Sounds like opponents going deep. They are. And I'm trying to think of how much I want to board out in the case of Leyline of the Void. Like, I could probably not bring... Well, they showed me Drown and Glimpse. So Spell Snare does look a little bit better. Maybe no Spell Bomb. Cut a Gurmag. Cut a Wraith. A push. Like this. Definitely one of those times that I kind of miss having access to like Flusterstorm. All right, no Leyline. For push needed with Drowns and Dismembers. I think the crabs can really run away with the game if you don't deal with them like very quickly. On Thoughtseize, just in case they have an archive trap. Founding of the Third Path, or Founding the Third Path, whatever this thing is. An okay hand. I'm glad I brought in the Spell Snare. Founding would let them cast something for free, so maybe I take like the Glimpse. So they Founding, but I don't like really care about it. Like they can cast a Drown, but who cares about a Drown? I remember back when we played a lot of Historic to start off, people were really trying Founding of the Third Path in Lurrus Shadow. And if the third chapter said that you could play the copy without paying its mana cost, I think the card would be pretty sweet. But unfortunately, like, you still have to pay the mana cost for it. So it gets substantially worse. All right, step one, dodge archive trap. I've got like a bunch of good spells in my hand. So I want to exile anything that I've got a duplicate of in my hand. So if they have like a surgical extraction, they can't hit the yard and hit my hand with it. But I can keep like the stub in the yard for Snapcaster. I assume this is just going to be like Cycle of Sanity. Founding Third Path is a cool card. Too bad none of my graveyard-centric mid-range decks have enough instants and sorceries to justify it. Yeah, like, it's cool on the first chapter, and it's cool on the second chapter. But the third chapter kind of sucks when you actually start playing, like, that far into the game. Third chapter just becomes, okay, pay 2 and cast something that, like, I could have just drawn anyway. You know what I mean? 3, 4, 5. Three, 4, 5. Are they doing this just to get the yard filled up? You do just have like a 3-turn clock with Gurmag Angler. That's pretty nice. But I really need to find one more land. One more blue producing land. There we go. Because if I say one more land, it's going to be Blood Crypt off the top. 100% guaranteed. Played enough of this game to know better. Casting anything? Yeah, the 2 non-blue lands hurts, but also the not having blue fetches hurts a bit. Because if we did have blue fetches, we'd be down to 1 non-blue land in the main. I want to take the brown. I think we're going to take the Fractured Sanity as the redraw. Let them hang on to the drown. If they find a land, they're going to Otawara regardless. There's like not anything I can do about that. They'll me to try to get me enough cards in the yard to potentially drown. So if they don't hit the land and they have to rely on drown, I'm in good shape. Kind of looks like what's happening here. Land. Blue land. Blue land. Almost. So close. All right. So they've got end of turn, drown, untap, founding goes off. They can drown again. It doesn't really matter if I... Oh, if they make a Korra, this is so good for me. Yes, yes. Feel the greed flow through your veins. You need draw a card. Why would you do something like cast Drown in the Lock when you could draw a card? Feels just 120-ish ticks in MTGO. Quite cheap. Is it that cheap? I believe it. I'd imagine like... Yeah! I'd imagine like new Jace couldn't be that expensive. Yeah. I always love when I'm checking out like prices of decks, going and finding the people whose list is just absurdly more expensive than every other list and seeing what they're doing. Like one with subtlety, so there's just naturally 50 ticks more expensive than everybody else's. But you used to see people, especially when it came to decks like Jund mid-range, you'd see somebody's option that was just $400 more expensive than everybody else's, and you go and look at it, it was 6-7 years ago, and their sideboard would be like a play set of Liliana the Last Hope and a play set of like what would be a good one? Like a playset of Surgical Extraction and a playset of Liliana the Last Hope or something like that. And their list is just 350 more than everybody else's. And it's hilarious. It would happen in Shadow from time to time. Somebody's list would be a couple $100 more expensive, and you go and look, and it's like 3 Surgicals and 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor in the sideboard. All right. Opponent mulled to 6, so I now understand their name, Blame the Shuffler. I'm going to assume that they are not on burn. They are, in fact, not on burn. So, Ornithopter, Springleaf, Darksteel, Frogmite. Does give them a turn 1 Frogmite, so that's kind of cool. Even if I take Springleaf, they have turn 1 Ornithopter, turn 2 Frogmite if they want it. But if I take Frogmite, then they go, what? Saga, Ornithopter, Drum. In turn 2, they can start making constructs. So I think my decision is between Ornithopter and Springleaf Drum. And I think Springleaf just leads to more explosive starts. Also gives them blue mana in case they're running like Thought Monitor. Thought Scour in case we hit Gurmag Angler. It's not a Gurmag, but it's not bad. Sitting at my desk, goldfishing Jund Saga and paper and opening a reasonable 7 feels like less than 10%. It's probably not a good sign out of a deck you're wanting to play, right? We'll go ahead and kill off the Ornithopter just in case they might have like a follow-up. Free dude. You out of here so I can like cleanly get down Shadow next turn when they make a construct. The good old days when the mana cost of 2 blue of Jason Mind Sculptor wasn't conflicting with any nonsense that wants you to reveal a creature pre-game. Back when I paid 5 mana for my Baneslayer Angel and I was happy about it, damn it. I remember it was like one of the SCG events. I want to say it was Patrick Sullivan was talking about like Magic or card design moving away from mana investment, like how it used to be. And I think one of the examples was like Baneslayer Angel and Lyra and stuff like that, where if you wanted to invest into this thing to potentially win the game, you're like putting your mana into it, playing it out, hoping it survived, and hoping your opponent didn't like trade off with something cheaper than it was and that allowed them to gain the advantage. And that like really stuck. Wait and see what they do. I kind of feel like they're just going to get a Springleaf Drum, maybe a Memnite or an Ornithopter or something. But the hope is I can set up, hope is I can set up maybe Fatal Push a construct. Like they attack in, I Fatal Push this one and then block this one after it shrinks. Something like that. Or they have Thought Monitor and everything goes out the window. Now I'm likely Fatal Pushing this one. Not attacking. We're never going back to those days, are we? No. No, we're not. Trust me, I'm as sad as everybody else about it, but don't see it happening. Three, two, one, or 1-2. I was 1-2. Now I'm 2-2. But I think we've just gotten to the point where like there's way too many creatures with like enter the battlefield abilities and alternate costs and whatnot that you just can't go back from it. Yeah, we are playing to try to go positive right now. And I think if we go positive, I'll consider the league to be a success. Like, I'd consider it a huge success if we go positive. I would like to see you tap this to play a Thought Cast, and we draw a Dress Down. Don't appear to be tapping that to play a Thought Cast. Disappointed. Now I don't have a good attack. I have an extra large construct here. So we have an out if they right click attack all. They attack with all three of these. Never mind. No more out. Out went away. This on anything else? Don't do it. Be a Thought Cast. Thought Cast. One time Thought Cast. Dang it. Okay. I was going to say our out was like them attacking with all three. We block the construct. Take 3, get a 2. Shadow grows to an 11/11. We draw a Dress Down. Get to play it. Kill off this construct and hit them for lethal. It's not even going to let us see our top card. Oh no, you let me down. Let me down. I want the dress down in the spreading seas. Stern Scolding hits Thought Monitor. Heck yeah. I was like on the fence about that. Now we're gearing up for war. Round's pretty meh. Stub's not too great. Thoughtseize isn't too great. How good is Flaying Tendrils actually? It's what? It's Memnite, Ornithopter, Thought Monitor, Frogmite. Maybe if they don't have a lot of artifact lands, it can take out some tokens. Keep one in. Am I real? Hope so. If not, my parents got some explaining to do. They've been lying to me for years. Keeping on this soul back of like Spreading Seas plus Stern Scolding. I think my biggest disdain for cards like Urza's Saga is allowing you to play cards like the Spell Bomb there with just like no downside. Like, why not play this free one of in your deck that you get 4 tutors for? You played Croxa recently. I was thinking of jamming some in a Grixis deck with it again, but not sure if it'll be good. I've played a lot of Croxa recently. I love Croxa. Croxa is one of those cards that I feel like gets grossly underrated by people. Like, I'm a big fan of cards that kind of have the ability to free roll part of a given meta. And Croxa basically says if you're playing mid-range or control, like, this card has a very good chance of just soloing you. And all you need is like 2 copies of it. Cranial plating. Kind of rude. Ew. Ooh. Okay. Get down Shadow. Do I want to Fatal Push the Memnite? I'm like a little concerned that if I don't, and they just have more Thought Casts or Thought Monitors, they're going to get to play them, but I guess they're going to get to play them regardless. I was trying to pull a Shadowless Grixis deck and thought about pairing Dauthi with Croxa. Probably be fine. Probably fine. Okay. Do I care about this extra point of damage? Probably, because I'm not casting anything this turn. We're not casting anything on my turn. I can't imagine a lot of scenarios where I want Otawara, but having up Counterspell isn't just as good. Aha! Have come to me at last. You. The hour of thine reckoning is upon us. Assist. How about you, Nettle don't? About that one. What if your Strip Mine also drew a card? Treasure Vault, Otawara. Okay. Back in with Shadow. Shadow. Opponent plays any threat, then they can't Otawara. Might put them dead to my Otawara. Boo. Down. The game. It's just a game. Okay, so if I Otawara, Bear, Ornithopter. No. That's bad, right? Because if I Otawara the Ornithopter, they just block with Thought Monitor, Welding Jar, and I'm dead on the crackback. So I want to attack first. Pass the turn. Well, even if they jarred, we can always Otawara the cranial plating, and that kind of saves us for a turn. What happens if I Otawara the jar? Is that worth it at all? Probably not. All right, show me Flaying Tendrils. Weird game. Or this. I can't imagine a world where they don't just go for this. Like, what are you playing around to play out threats, strap up cranial plating? Like, do they have the read on Otawara? Did I show them Otawara game 1? That feels like such a weird read to not go for lethal multiple times when you have lethal Thought Monitor and hold back, trade on the attack. Like, not welding jar ever. I don't know. I don't like it. I also don't play a lot of Affinity, so. Like, just having the read on Otawara, because they only attacked when I tapped off Otawara, right? Oh well. What do we think of Budget Shadow? The mana base hurt. Like having the multiple non-blue lands. But that's kind of what you get when all of the black fetches are ridiculously cheaper than the blue variations. Maybe it's worth it to cut like the dress downs just to fix up the mana. All the losses were 1-2, right? I think so. 1-2 to Yawg. Was that 0-2 to Affinity, though? I think that was 0-2 to Affinity. Well, let me go back and look. You know what's probably worth it here is just running like another Blood Crypt and running Battle Rage. Because if you've already got Street Wraith, Thoughtseize, Gurmag, Shadow, then you probably pick up more wins for running Battle Rage than you do like slightly tweaking your mana base, but keeping your threat subpar. So I'd probably buy that. I'd probably buy just like dropping a Watery Grave for a second Blood Crypt, adding 2 copies of Battle Rage, finding some cut in the deck. But other than that, like going 2-3 in the first league with Budget Shadow, pretty good. Like we did see, what do we see? Mill, Enchantress, that should be like reasonable matchups for this. Yawgmoth is rough for every Shadow variant. We saw Eldrazi Tron, which is bad for every Shadow variant. And then we saw Affinity there at the end, which is also pretty bad. So honestly, like going 2-3 beating the 2 matchups that we should beat, losing to the 3 matchups that we should lose to, I'm pretty good with it. I think TBR helps out with some of the bad matchup escapability. But yeah, I'm pleased with how the deck performed.